How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fam, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at which teams have the best fixtures for the next 4 game weeks, from game week 20 all the way up to game week 23. If you're enjoying the videos, make sure to leave a like on them. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us out. It helps you guys out as well, as we can help the channel grow, and then we can do more fantastic videos much like this one. And turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And make sure you're following us over on Twitter and Twitch. Twitter, where we post all our updates, lineup announcements, video posts, all that sort of stuff goes out over on Twitter, as well as we post our weekly schedule so that you can see what videos are coming out in the coming days. And Twitch is where we do our FPL live streams, so make sure to check us out for that. We will be doing one tomorrow at the time of recording. That is the 21st of January. That's going to be at 7 p.m. EST, so make sure to come check us out for that. That's going to be for our game week 20 preview. So without further ado, let's see what 4 teams I have lined up that have the best fixtures for game week 20 to game week 23, so that you could be looking at players to bring in for those teams. So the first team that I want to talk about is Manchester City, the team in form, the team that was briefly at the top of the table for about an hour or so before Manchester United took it back after getting 3 points away at Craven Cottage. But Man City beating Aston Villa 2-0, although in some pretty dodgy circumstances, but nonetheless, they got the 3 points. They've been keeping a lot of clean sheets, and defensively have been quite solid, and their run of games look quite good going forward. West Brom away, Sheffield United at home, Burnley away. You're thinking probably 3 clean sheets there, no problem. In the last 5 game weeks, they've got 5 clean sheets, so looking pretty good there. Yes, they have Liverpool in game week 23, but they still have potential doubles that they need to sort out later on as well, because they still have the fixture versus Everton that needs to be rescheduled, as well as one other, I believe, if I remember correct. But they're going to have doubles to come, and their defense has just been looking fantastic. Now, that may change with the players that keep starting with Champions League and that sort of stuff, but the most nailed on players seem to be Stones and Diaz as the center back partnership, and then you have Cancelo, who's basically their best, first choice right and left back. Now, Walker going off injured in today's game, looked to be a bit of a hip issue, maybe a hamstring. He was kind of holding his right leg. Maybe Cancelo now just plays. I mean, he played, I think it was 9 games straight in all competitions previously before that, so he looks to be quite important and is very good in the way Pep plays a system where he basically has one of his fullbacks tuck in and into a back 3, and then Cancelo plays alongside one of the midfielders, usually it's Rodri, in like a midfield 2, and then makes runs forwards from there. Like I said, clean sheets have been what Man City have been looking at, which is why I've highlighted Cancelo, Stones, and Diaz. Cancelo, more of an attacking threat from open play with the assist. Also struck the woodwork and was quite unlucky not to get a goal from that. That would have been perfect, because I think it was a Kevin De Bruyne pass, which would have gone to Cancelo. And then from set plays, Stones has obviously scored recently. Diaz got an assist from one of Stones' goals, and they seem to be providing more attacking threat from set plays in that regard. And also, Stones is cheaper than both Cancelo and Diaz, and seems to be an easy way to get into defense. And the reason we've highlighted these 3 defenders, because it is mostly about the clean sheets. City aren't blowing teams out of the water completely, and it looked like Kevin De Bruyne came off injured in the game versus Aston Villa today. Now, that could be a long-term issue, could it be a short-term issue, but could potentially just be, hey, look, these next 3 fixtures, I know City's going to keep a clean sheet versus West Brom, Sheffield United, and Burnley, teams that just don't score goals, so I'm going to go with the 3 most consistent players. You'll think Cancelo's going to play in all of those, especially if Walker's out long-term. Pep likes Cancelo, he talks highly of Stones, and Diaz just doesn't get dropped. Plus, they have an FA Cup fixture over the weekend, so the most likely is where Stones and Diaz will probably see their rest. Maybe Cancelo plays a little part in it. Maybe Pep just kind of throws out their reserves. It's basically another Premier League B team. That's how good that they actually are. But yeah, I would say keep an eye on Kevin De Bruyne, but we could potentially be seeing triple Man City defense at least for these next 3 run of fixtures. And I think that if you don't have at least 1 City defender, I would certainly be considering having 2 if you don't do so already. And like I said, basically pick pick from the bunch that you want. If you want Cancelo and Diaz, you want a little bit of, both open play, both set piece, go for it. If you want the two most nailed players with Stones and Diaz in the back line, go for that. It's up to you. They're all great value, and I think definitely having two City players, especially in their back line, is going to be quite good over these next few fixtures. Now, Aston Villa is up next on our list, having lost 2-0 to Man City, although they kept it tight for quite a while. Yes, the XG stats would have shown that City had close to 2 goals in the first half and all that sort of stuff, but they were able to be bailed out by their goalkeeper, Martinez, who's been excellent this season, and in the last 5 game weeks, he's top for saves anyway. 25 saves over the last 5 game weeks, so doing quite well for himself, and he still has another game to be played in this game week as well, which is just going to boost his stats even more. And I would pretty much expect them to keep a clean sheet versus Newcastle as well. And Aston Villa have been very good defensively and offensively this season. I believe they still have like 3 extra games in hand over everyone who's played. I think they've only played 16 games this season, which is, crazy to think about. I think if they win the rest of their games in hand, I think they're in like the top 4 or like 3rd or something insane. I haven't actually checked the table, but it is quite crazy to think about. And it's mainly down to the man in the middle, Jack Grealish. And over these next few fixtures, Burnley away, Southampton away, West Ham at home, Arsenal at home, they could easily be picking up 3 points in all 4 of these games. Burnley don't typically score many goals. Southampton have been struggling for goals. West Ham don't typically score many goals. And Arsenal have been struggling versus even the bottom teams. So I think that Aston Villa could definitely hurt them. They will, however, need some help from Ollie Watkins. And I think with Ross Barkley back, although he looked a bit rusty in tonight's game, can still definitely help out both Grealish and Watkins' productivity. Now, Watkins is tied 3rd with 4 for the most big chances in the past 5 game weeks. He's 2nd for shots in the box with 15, and he's also on the goals imminent table. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a table that is designed over on Fantasy Football Scout, which basically says he's due 1. So, and he's quite good in the creative stats as well. So I think Ollie Watkins is a cheap striker who's going to have a double game week at some point because Aston Villa got games to play. He's definitely going to be one of the ways into that Aston Villa attack, which has been quite good, and spearheaded by this man in the middle, Jack Grealish, who is 2nd for chances created over the last 5 game weeks with 23, and he's top for big chances created with 5 over the past 5 game weeks, and he's going to still have another game in this week as well, so that stat's probably going to go up even further. And the versus Newcastle, so he could even stat pad his way into absolute oblivion here and potentially rise in price before the next game week in Game Week 20 before they play Burnley. However, with Jack Grealish, there is a bit of a caveat. He is on 4 yellow cards. Now, unlike Manchester United, who have played 19 games after they've played the Fulham game this evening, Aston Villa still have 3 more games to go. So they still have to play Newcastle, they still have to play Burnley, and they still have to play Southampton. Without Jack Grealish, I think Matt Targett, and I think there might be, I think it was John McGinn, but he got a yellow card tonight. If you get 5 yellows in before your team plays 19 games, you get suspended for a game. So Jack Grealish is on that. However, it's just been for mouthing off. So hopefully he doesn't get a yellow. If he does get one in Newcastle, then he won't play against Burnley. So you have to make sure to just keep an eye on that. But otherwise than that, they look fantastic. They're also going to have probably a good double game week going into Game Week 26. They're probably going to be in the smaller double game weeks, whether it be in 23 or 27, all up before the blank game weeks in 29. And then if they progress, I'm not sure if they're still in the FA Cup or not, but if they are, then that's even more potential blanks and doubles for them going forward. But yeah, I think these 3 are the best. You could probably see El Ghazi, but he was on the bench tonight. Maybe Ross Barkley, who looked a bit rusty. We'll have to kind of see how that goes. But I think Martinez for a solid goalkeeper, Grealish is the talisman, and Watkins, if he starts putting some chances away, he could definitely have some ridiculous holes like he did earlier in the season. Now, a team that slowly surprised everyone is Leicester City, a team that a few years ago was able to win the Premier League by just sneaking up past everyone as the underdogs with the power of Riyad Mahrez and Jamie Vardy. Now, the players that I've highlighted here, one of them is still Jamie Vardy, still doing quite well for himself. James Maddison and James Justin, a bunch of James in there, a bunch of names beginning with J in there. And so, yeah, I think James Justin is somebody who we thought at the beginning of the season, he's going to play until game week 6, 8-ish, and then he's going to lose his place to Ricardo Pereira. Well, now that injury's been slowly progressed on and gotten, and had a long time to basically come back. And even when Justin was on the field, in their game versus Chelsea, he wasn't subbed off to bring Pereira on. Pereira was actually subbed on for Albright and ended up playing right wing, which was interesting to see in itself. So I don't think Justin is going to be losing his place. Him and Fofana have been the two kind of standout players that have been in the stead of Soyuncu and in the stead of Pereira since they've been out for the longest period of time. Those are the two players that have been out for, on and off for at least probably the majority of the season, as it were. James Maddison had a long-standing injury and has come back in recent weeks and has done quite well for himself. Currently sits at a nice price, 7.1 million. He's been doing quite well stats-wise as well. He's fourth with chances created over the past 5 games with 14, and I think that could be quite good for them. Going back on the clean sheet, side of things, 3 in the last 6, quite good, and 2 in the last 2 versus tougher opposition. So Southampton, you think would be a quite difficult team. Same for Chelsea, could have been a difficult, team. They've done quite well, and I think Leicester have firmly cemented themselves as potentially going into the top 4. They did fade off at the end of last season, but I think with the fixtures they have coming up, they could do quite well, especially attacking-wise. Everton away. Vardy is very good away from home. Everton like to play, fairly attacking, have pretty much their whole team back, so I think Vardy could do well there. Leeds at home, well, we know Leeds like to man mark, and it creates a whole bunch of spaces and openings for creative players like Maddison. Fulham, they're easily susceptible, although they've tightened up recently defensively. And Wolves away, Wolves just haven't looked very good at the back no matter what system they play. So I think attacking-wise, they could do quite well. It's just where the goals are going to come from. I think Vardy's definitely going to be involved, but it's, do you go for Maddison? Do you go for one of the attacking fullbacks like Castagna or somebody like that? Do you go for one of the center backs? Do you go for like a Tielemans? Do you go for a Barnes? It's a bit weird. I think Vardy and Maddison are probably going to be the two mainstays in there. And then Justin is going to be probably your best bet for them in defense. If you want to go with something quite solid in goal, you can go for Schmeichel. Makes a decent bit of saves as well. If you want to go for somebody who's probably overdue a goal, I say Fofana is also another one as well. And in terms of Vardy's output, he didn't score a goal in the double game week that we just had in game week 19. It still hasn't finished yet, but he didn't score in the 2 games that he played. However, he has had the most shots inside the box over the past 5 game weeks with 17, so he is doing quite well. Although he's not been very accurate, but he has been having a lot of shots in the box, so I still think he could definitely get up there in the Golden Boot race and start scoring some more open play goals, and it'll definitely be with the man in the middle, Maddison, helping out with that. So I'm trying to even find players in my team that could potentially be replaced for some Leicester players. Not really sure how the budget's going to work out for that. Maybe Maddison comes in, maybe Vardy instead of Kane briefly, just to make the fixture a little bit easier. But Kane has good fixtures in 23 onwards. It's going to be a bit weird to basically fit some Leicester players in on, kind of the way my team is set up. We'll have to see. But I think Leicester, if you're going for them, I think they could be good buys for the next few game weeks. Now, kind of the forgotten team is Chelsea. At the beginning of the season, everyone was hyping them up, and they had all these signings come in. They were doing quite well. They were sitting themselves in the top 4, and then they've slowly teetered off, not kept the amount of clean sheets that they have been keeping, only 2 in the last 5 game weeks. And we've been, thinking, oh, is Werner going to be a good asset? I predicted for him to be the Golden Boot winner this season. That didn't pan out well, but that was obviously a prediction well in the beginning of the season. Not really gone to plan. He's been very wasteful in the chances that he has had. And in the one chance that you would think for him to score, running in behind, 1v1 with the goalkeeper, just didn't even hit the target. So a bit wasteful there. However, from a defensive standpoint, I can see them definitely keeping a couple of clean sheets or getting back to form. Not sure really what's happened with Zuma. They were more reliable with him in defense, and Chilwell and James have been injured at parts of the season. But I think that with Chilwell, James, and Mendy, you could potentially have some type of solid foundation for clean sheets. Wolves don't score many goals. Burnley at home, Burnley again, don't score many goals. Spurs away, could be a bit tricky, but I believe it was a 0-0 draw the last time they played each other. And then Sheffield United don't score very many goals as well. And with Chilwell and James, you're going to get some attacking threat. You're going to get some set-piece threat as well. And Mendy's just going to be more of a solid-ish goalkeeper. But if you're going to pay 5.1, I think Martinez is probably better for him. I've just kind of slotted him in there if you wanted to go for like Matty Target, Jack Grealish, and Watkins basically. And then you wanted to go Mendy if you wanted to go triple outfield players for Aston Villa. In terms of big chances conceded, they're actually tied third worst on that with conceding 15. And the only teams that have done worse in that category, basically conceding more big chances, is Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and West Brom. So Manny's going to have to do a lot of work to potentially stop the ball going in the back of the net. So maybe he gets some save points there. Maybe they can turn that around. In terms of an offensive standpoint, they're doing quite well. Fourth for XG with 9.68. And shots inside the box, they're also fourth with 56. But they only have 7 goals to show for it. So that means they're underperforming their XG. And that may be because of the wastefulness of Timo Werner, of Tammy Abraham, and not basically putting those chances away. And beforehand, we said we wanted the reliability of clean sheets and that sort of stuff. You're getting that with the likes of the City defenders, who are 0.3, at least the more expensive ones, cheaper than Ben Chilwell. Reece James and Chilwell are going to be on set plays, and they kind of function the way Robertson and Trent function, where they're going to be swinging crosses in. It's just, can we rely on them to get attacking returns when the clean sheets are down? However, I think clean sheets are going to be good for the next few game weeks for Chelsea, so I would say potentially look to invest in one of their fullbacks is probably more reliable in Chilwell or Reece James for the next few weeks. And that's going to do it for this video for the best fixtures for game weeks 20 to 23. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And if you want to see us live, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitter so you can get the notification for when we go live over on Twitch. So drop us a follow over there, which will be tomorrow, 7 p.m. EST, for our FPL preview for game week 20. So make sure to check us out for that. We do live streams for previews and deadlines, whether it's the day before for the deadline and whether it's the day of the deadline. We make sure to do a stream for each one of those, and you can see a pinned comment down below as to when those times are going to be. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.